How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. Listen, I want me a bit of coffee barrel-aged bigness right now. I deserve it. It's been a very long day. I'm going to crack into this sucker. We are re-reviewing. I mean, it's a different year, but we're re-reviewing Tweak from Avery Brewing Company. It's been a while since I've done this, but I'm a Tweak guy. I've always dug this beer. I think Avery has one of the better barrel aging programs in the whole country. Some of the stuff they miss on though, man. You know, I've done my fair share of gold foil tops, and some have missed. But as of late, there's been a couple that have really done it for me. So I'm excited to see what they did with this year's iteration of Tweak as far as what it says on here. Avery Brewing Company Annual Barrel Series Batch 5 Tweak Stout with coffee aged in bourbon barrels, 14.7% alcohol by volume. Is that lower? I think Tweak, I could be wrong, but just, you know, knee-jerk reaction. I think I remember Tweak being like 15 to 16 plus. Could be wrong. September 14th this is bottled on. This is October 20th. So it's a bit over a month old, so it's quite fresh. Inside here, story time. It says brewed and bottled by Avery Brewing Company, Boulder, Colorado. It says our very own Parker, one of the cartoon and cat-loving variety, created this cult. I read that weird, too fast. Of the cartoon and cat-loving variety, created this cult classic character back in our 17th season, appearing in several episodes under a stage name that was deemed inappropriate. Our executive producers and editors decided that a name change is further character development, a 4-month hiatus in bourbon barrels, were necessary to satisfy our most ardent and demanding viewers. That's kind of weird way to put it. There's an inside joke in there, just I don't get. Anyway, done and done. You know, classic Avery gold foil top labeling. Gold foil top is nice, and I do not have a bottle opener. I do not know. I don't have a bottle opener. So we use a screwdriver. So, ladies and gentlemen, for this portion of the show, I've talked about this before. Learn how to open bottles with any apparatus you can possibly find. It's a very good skill to do. It's not very difficult either. Watch this be very difficult. Watch it actually. Yeah, see, it's not hard to open bottles of beer with anything. All you need is a rigid object and leverage. It's easy. Anyway, let's give this a pour, see what she's got. Last time I had Tweak, I believe it was rather aged. So maybe going in this with a little bit of kind of aged mentality as far as what the beer is normally like. But I mean, look at that. Rich, dark, big stoutiness, pinky finger, malted malt ball color. Actually getting closer to what I like coffee to look like color-wise. Like you guys actually know what that means, but that's what I say. Yeah, she looks like a big, bold stout, doesn't she? Let's see what the nose has. See, that's the thing about these Avery stouts. These gold foil tops, they deal with this kind of big alcohol problem so well. There is a kind of an evaporative kind of alcohol in there, but there's no heat. There's really not much heat in the nose. Very minimal. You get that rich cherried bourbon, big, huge chocolate and coffee notes. I mean, the chocolate is just out of this world. Huge. It's almost like it's not even coffee. It's like a huge macchiato espresso over the top to the nth degree kind of vibe. Big, nice roasted malts. Very sweet. Exactly what you would think of B. Big, huge roasted malt, sweet leaning with your nice big coffee notes, chocolate flipping and flopping all over the place, and a nice kind of bourbon character. Not really getting much barrel. And a nose besides a little bit of subtle smokiness. Done and done. Let's dive in. Cheers. That's delicious. Boy, that's delicious. It's sweet. It's sweet, but, you know, it's 15%. What do you want to do? I mean, there's a big, huge sweetness, but the sweetness kind of makes sense. It's a little chocolate candied syrup kind of sweetness along with a little bit of kind of bourbon candy syrup. This thing has coffee in every bit, in every direction. It's like a big, rich, dark roast, but on top of that, it has that like that moist green fleshiness. I forgot what it's called. There's an actual name for that flesh. On the coffee bean, it actually has that kind of going for it too. It's not just straight up just bitter roastingness. There's not much bittering on the coffee end. You're getting a nice portion of bitterness from the roasted malts, but there's enough sweetness to absolutely balance that off, if not go further beyond it. The chocolate, again, is so multi-layered. It's kind of curious because it's a coffee stout. There's no added chocolate to it, but there's just depths and levels of chocolate to this that are so crazy. It's like everything from milk chocolate, baker's chocolate, to everything in between. It's got an absolutely fantastic mouthfeel to it. I almost want to call this a bourbon barrel aged chocolate coffee stout as opposed to just a bourbon barrel aged coffee stout. It's fantastic. Like I said, some of these gold foil tops from Avery have done me wrong. You know, Nutty Professor was one. I think there was, I forgot the other one. Was it their quad? I'm not quite sure, but some of the other ones, even this year's Rumpkin wasn't really my favorite, but that raspberry truffle or truffle or whatever you want to call it, they spell truffle with ale at the end instead of truffle. That's why I'm pronouncing it weird. It really did me right. So when they do stuff and they do it right, it's fantastic. This is one of the more fantastic ones. And here's the kicker. I think this is going to be even better with time. I think it'll morph into something absolutely fantastic over years. A markedly different beer than what it is now in years, but it'll turn into something fantastic. I'm talking about that medium short-termish kind of aging. I'm talking 6 to 8 months. I think that sweetness will kind of round out and not be nearly as sweet. I think that coffee is going to hold on. I think that chocolate is very distinct across a bunch of different levels. I think we'll kind of meld and become one rich kind of gamut of chocolate as opposed to being like, oh, it's Baker's, it's sweet, it's this and that. It'll be like one huge wide berth of coffee. I mean, I can actually see it getting better with a little bit of age. I can see it turning into something different and absolutely fantastic, like I said, with heavy aging. But you know, you're 6 to 12 months. I'd love to see that where this one goes. The coffee's fantastic. Chocolate is deep. Bourbon plays well. It doesn't come off hot. It's lacking a little bit of barrel character. If I'm going to knock it for anything, I'll do it for that. And I'm getting a little smoky chariness, but nothing too crazy. In grand scheme of things, if I was going to knock it for the biggest thing, it would be, I'd be like, oh, it's probably a little bit too sweet for my taste, but you're talking about a 15% Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. If you don't think that's going to be sweet, then you have a problem. That's a you problem, not the beer's problem. So I'm totally letting that slide. Yeah, fantastic beer. Delicious. One of the better, let's cut to that chase. Let's get right to it. Is it one of the better bourbon barrel aged coffee beers I've had as of late? Yes. I know there's a ton of them out there nowadays. Everybody's just, adjuncting to the nth degree, kind of pastry stout and the shit out of everything. I think this is up there with the best of them. I mean, it doesn't have, 18 different bits and pieces of 19 different things of 47 different angles of things in it. It's coffee, it's bourbon, and it's a big Imperial Stout. It's rather basic, but I think basic can be a positive when you're bringing this kind of depth and flavor to a beer. Value and availability. It's usually pretty widely available. Price point usually around $15, give or take, where you live for a bottle of this. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depending on where you reside. That's always been a little bit high for me, but it is what it is. And leave you with, if you like you like this beer, if you like bourbon barrel aged stouts, if you like coffee stouts, and you want a bourbon barrel aged coffee stout, it's fantastic. It gives you, it's one of those things where it's like, you want to praise it for, it's not a simple beer, but it's simplicity of, it's a bourbon barrel aged huge Imperial Stout. And guess what it tastes like? A huge Imperial Stout with coffee in it that's bourbon barrel aged. Like, I know that sounds a little bit too on the nose, and you're like, okay, no shit, Sherlock. A lot of people get that wrong. You know what I mean? A lot of people say if beer is going to be this, be like, okay, there's nice coffee and there's a little bit of bourbon and it's a nice stout. But it just doesn't hit all the marks. This hits all the marks. And a lot of people say a lot of things. Talk a good game, whether it be just in general or on a bottle, and don't back it up. This one backs it up. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I am. Gonna take a sip. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a nice big bourbon barrel aged coffee stout right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.